Letter from Jane Austen to her sister Cassandra at Ibthorp, alluding to the sudden death of Mrs. Lloyd at that place. 25 Gay Street, Bath, Monday, April the 8th, 1805. My dear Cassandra, here is a day for you. Did Bath or Ibthorp ever see such an 8th of April? It is March and April together, the glare of one and the warmth of the other. We do nothing but walk about. As far as your means will admit, I hope you profit by such weather too. I dare say you are already the better for change of place. We were out again last night. Miss Irvine invited us when I met her in the Crescent to drink tea with them, but I rather declined it, having no idea that my mother would be disposed for another evening visit there so soon. But when I gave her the message, I found her very well inclined to go, and accordingly, on leaving chapel, we walked to Lansdowne. This morning we have been to see Miss Chamberlain look hot on horseback. 7 years and 4 months ago we went to the same riding house to see Miss Lefroy's performance. What a different set are we now moving in. But 7 years, I suppose, are enough to change every pore of one's skin and every feeling of one's mind. We did not walk long in the Crescent yesterday. It was hot and not crowded enough, so we went into the field and passed close by S.T. and Miss S. again. I have not seen her face, but neither her dress nor air have anything of the dash or stylishness which the Browns talked of. Quite the contrary. Indeed, her dress is not even smart, and her appearance is very quiet. Miss Irvine says she is never speaking a word. Poor wretch! I'm afraid she is en penitence. Here has been that excellent Miss Coulthart calling while my mother was out, and I was believed to be so. I always respected her as a good-hearted, friendly woman. And the Browns have been here. I find their affidavits on the table. The ambuscade reached Gibraltar on the 9th of March and found all well, so say the papers. We have had no letters from anybody, but we expect to hear from Edward tomorrow and from you soon afterwards. How happy they are at Godmersham now. I shall be very glad of a letter from Ibthorp that I may know how you all are, but particularly yourself. This is nice weather for Mrs. J. Austen's going to Speen, and I hope she will have a pleasant visit there. I expect a prodigious account of the christening dinner. Perhaps it brought you at last into the company of Miss Dundas again. Tuesday. I received your letter last night, and wish it may be soon followed by another to say that all is over. But I cannot help thinking that nature will struggle again and produce a revival. Poor woman! May her end be peaceful and as easy as the exit we have witnessed, and I dare say it will. If there is no revival, suffering must be all over. Even the consciousness of existence, I suppose, was gone when you wrote. The nonsense I have been writing in this and in my last letter seems out of place at such a time, but I will not mind it. It will do you no harm, and nobody else will be attacked by it. I am heartily glad that you can speak so comfortably of your own health and looks, though I can scarcely comprehend the latter being really approved. Could travelling 50 miles produce such an immediate change? You were looking very poorly here, and everyone seems sensible of it. Is there a charm in a hack post-chaise? But if there were, Mrs. Craven's carriage might have undone it all. I am much obliged to you for the time and trouble you have bestowed on Mary's cap, and I'm glad it pleases her, but it will prove a useless gift at present, I suppose. Will not she leave Ibthorp on her mother's death? As a companion, you are all that Martha can be supposed to want, and in that light, under these circumstances, your visit will indeed have been well timed. Thursday. I was not able to go out yesterday. All my wit and leisure were bestowed on letters to Charles and Henry. To the former I wrote in consequence of my mother's having seen in the papers that the Urania was waiting at Portsmouth for the convoy for Halifax. This is nice, as it is only 3 weeks ago that you wrote by the Camilla. I wrote to Henry because I had a letter from him in which he desired to hear from me very soon. His to me was most affectionate and kind, as well as entertaining. There is no merit to him in that. He cannot help being amusing. He offers to meet us on the sea-coast, if the plan of which Edward gave him some hint takes place. Will not this be making the execution of such a plan more desirable and delightful than ever? He talks of the rambles we took together last summer with pleasing affection. Yours ever, J.A. From the same to the same, Gay Street, Sunday evening, April the 21st, 1805. My dear Cassandra, I am much obliged to you for writing to me again so soon. Your letter yesterday was quite an unexpected pleasure. Poor Mrs. Stent! It has been her lot to be always in the way, but we must be merciful, for perhaps in time we may come to be Mrs. Stents ourselves, unequal to anything and unwelcome to everybody. My morning engagement was with the Cookes, and our party consisted of George and Mary, a Mr. L. and Miss B., who had been with us at the concert, and the youngest Miss W. Not Julia. We have done with her. She is very ill. But Mary. Mary W.'s turn is actually come to be grown up, and have a fine complexion, and wear great square muslin shawls. I have not expressly enumerated myself among the party, but there I was, and my cousin George was very kind and talked sense to me every now and then, in the intervals of his more animated fooleries with Miss B., who is very young and rather handsome, and whose gracious manners, ready wit, and solid remarks put me somewhat in mind of my old acquaintance, L. There was a monstrous deal of stupid quizzing and commonplace nonsense talked, but scarcely any wit. All that bordered on it or in any sense came from my cousin George, whom altogether I like very well. Mr. B. seems nothing more than a tall young man. My evening engagement and walk was with Miss A., who had called on me the day before, and gently upbraided me in her turn with a change of manners to her since she had been in Bath, or at least of late. Unlucky me, that my notice should be of such consequence and my manners so bad. She was so well disposed and so reasonable that I soon forgave her and made this engagement with her in proof of it. She really is an agreeable girl, so I think I may like her, and her great want of a companion at home, which may well make any tolerable acquaintance importance to her, gives her another claim on my attention. I shall endeavour as much as possible to keep my intimacies in their proper place, and prevent their clashing. Among so many friends, it would be well if I do not get into a scrape. And now here is Miss Blashford come. I should have gone distracted if the Bullers had stayed. When I tell you I have been visiting a countess this morning, you will immediately, with great justice but no truth, guess it to be Lady Roden. No, it is Lady Leven, the mother of Lord Balgony. On receiving a message from Lord and Lady Leven through the Mackays, declaring their intention of waiting on us, we thought it right to go to them. I hope we have not done too much, but the friends and admirers of Charles must be attended to. They seem very reasonable, good sort of people, very civil and full of his praise. We were shown at first into an empty drawing-room, and presently in came his lordship, not knowing who we were, to apologise for the servant's mistake and to say himself what was untrue, that Lady Leven was not within. He is a tall, gentleman-like looking man with spectacles and rather deaf. After sitting with him 10 minutes, we walked away, but Lady Leven coming out of the dining parlour as we passed the door, we were obliged to attend her back to it and pay our visit over again. She is a stout woman with a very handsome face. By this means we had the pleasure of hearing Charles's praises twice over. They think themselves excessively obliged to him, and estimate him so highly as to wish Lord Balgony, when he is quite recovered, to go out to him. There is a pretty little Lady Marianne of the party to be shaken hands with, and I asked if she remembered Mr. Austen. I shall write to Charles by the next packet, unless you tell me in the meantime of your intending to do it. Believe me, if you choose, your affectionate sister.